Okay, calling the meeting of November 26th to order. And before we do you want to do a roll call? Because at what point should, okay.
Eric Talbot.
Here.
Here.
Holly Thurston. And acting chair.
Here. And so I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome Holly Thurston to the board. And I was hoping to wait for the other board members so we could just spend like 2 minutes just saying who we are and how long we've been on the board, but we could maybe do that later, skip that for now, or yeah, let's do these. Okay. So we can't just, for the record, I will say we cannot approve the minutes from the last meeting because we do not have Seth here today, so we don't have the requisite 4 people to approve the minutes. So moving on to additional business, proposed local law amendment of chapter 270 zoning.
I'll make it very brief, but so the board already recommended as the board already approved some habitable square footage
Maybe it wasn't, sorry. All right, so anyhow, so the board already amended the zoning to change all minimum square footages for bedrooms from habitable to livable, except there was one section in the code that was buried that we missed in terms of making the amendment to the zoning chapter, and so this reflects that change. And also we noticed, and it was like an inconsistency in the zoning in the PO district where in that one section, it noted minimum square footages for like different bedrooms, where in a table was always 800 square feet minimum for the PO district. And that was, the table was what the building department has been using for like over 10 years. So we're going to reflect that also in the text. So basically it's more or less, I would say it's almost like we missed it and now this is just completing the process as opposed to something new that's coming to this board.
Yeah, I think we looked at it several months ago.
Yes, you did.
Okay, procedurally, I'm not sure, but I wanted to double check to see if any board members had any questions about this.
My question is, just out of curiosity, what is the difference between livable and habitable?
So the habitable excluded like breezeways and bathrooms and closets. Livable includes all square footage. And this was a recommendation that actually came from, I think, the building department, as well as I think you, Linda, that there was concerns because first of all, well, I think Joe's here, so he can speak to it. Joe, you wanna talk about the reason why we moved everything from habitable to livable?
Yeah, it's just what happens is everybody, the architects and engineers are always trying to create as much space as possible to meet the habitable square footage, and some of the issues is you end up eliminating closets and things that don't count, which is really probably not ideal. And sometimes actually, if you do have to do it, you actually have an apartment in the downtown area, like in the VC district, that sometimes actually it has to meet a minimum habitable square footage, and it's larger than an apartment in other districts where you just have to have 800 livable. In all the residential districts, the apartments are only 800 livable. So it just didn't seem to match up very well on the size of apartments throughout the village. It's a lot easier to calculate also on the livable. You just count everything.
I think what we found, Joe, and correct me if I'm wrong, it was leading to some poor design.
Yeah.
Because you were getting, smaller closets, bigger closets, just in terms of what counted and what didn't count. And people trying to sort of play with the numbers. There was also, it created inconsistencies in the code because some zones required that you meet both and some just had one or the other. So I think the effort now is to just be consistent throughout. So as Valerie said, it was already done for pretty much all the other districts. So now we're just getting this last one that was missed.
Right, and the PL district was the one that required minimums for both livable and habitable. And it created need always to grant variances because you couldn't meet both.
Thank you, Joe.
Any other questions from board members? Procedurally, are we referring this to somebody? We're approving it? What are we doing?
Doing a recommendation. Yeah, you just have to do a recommendation back to the Board of Trustees. Anytime they're reviewing a zoning amendment, they have to refer it to you to make a recommendation. So you could just say that, yes, we agree this is a good, we give you a positive recommendation to adopt this change.
Okay, do we have to have a motion to that effect? Or,
You don't have to, but it doesn't hurt.
all right, can I get a motion to approve and refer back?
Phil Maria, motion to approve and
Refer back.
refer back.
Angelica Fiona, second.
I'll do a roll call just to reintroduce us all to each other and to remind everyone that Carla and Phil have made it. So welcome. Carla Elia. Aye. Phil Maria.
Here.
Eric Talbot.
Aye.
Angelica Kanganis.
Aye.
Holly Thurston.
Aye.
And Chair Aronson.
Aye.
Thank you. Chair, before we move on, I noticed that we actually have two sets of minutes and we can vote on the September ones
Oh, okay,
because we have yourself, Eric, Carla, and Angelica.
okay. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the September 24th meeting?
I'll make the motion.
I second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. 4-0. Thank you.
4-0, 2 abstentions.
Great, okay, are we ready for new business? Planning Board 12-2024, bar 28-2024, 61-63 Groton Avenue. Hi.
Hi.
What do you-
Yes. JB Hernandez, ARQ. Yeah. JB Hernandez, ARQPC, architect for the project. 6163 Crown Avenue. You're trying to? Okay. It's two existing buildings that are a couple hundred feet from here, walking distance. The projects that we were trying to do right now, there's two properties, there's two buildings, and then the additional, my client also owns the property. There is a property in the rear that connects to the back. Eventually, the idea is to come back with a different project, a larger project, but in the meanwhile, these two buildings have been abandoned since the building, he has done extensive cleanup. He has repaired the roofs. And he wants to rehabilitate the apartments and perhaps if he gets a tenant, the retail store. But the idea is to do some work into the buildings and be able to use that for tenants. So what we're proposing now is to repair all the stucco work, do a window replacement. And like I said, he already replaced the roof. In that, since the project or the building has been abandoned, that now requires a new conditional use for the use of apartments and a new site plan. If you go to here's the next sheet. Yeah, that shows the Yep, stand, if you're gonna stand on the side plan. Again, in the exterior, there is a parking area in the back. Outside of work, the only work we are proposing is gonna reshape a little bit of the grading at the parking lot to make it compliant. We are providing the number of spaces that are required for the uses, and there is a sidewalk. We're proposing a new sidewalk connecting the parking area to the existing buildings. As landscaping goes, he wants to do some grass area, restore the landscaping in the front. But very much what we're concentrating is renovating the existing structure, and that itself is going to be financial a high note. He did had to do all the plumbing, all the electrical, and all the apartments inside new. I know I received the comments from Tony and Valerie. We have gone through them. Mostly, yes, there is no increase in impervious area, so we will rectify that on the chart. So there is no stormwater needed. Again, the landscaping, it is minimal right now that he is trying to do. We do have, I know it sounds kind of awkward, but we do have or we need to show a accessible parking space, because code dictates that, but that's the New York State code. If you have a parking area, we need 1 per 25 parking spaces. But in this case, I mean, most likely, if somebody needs to access the front, they will have to park on Crown Avenue. Because there is, the existing driveway and the steps, those are not currently feasible for handicap accessibility. Also, I know there is a new law that came into place, like you were just discussing, from livable to habitable space. So that will, a couple of the apartments will be shy of the actually livable space, so that we will have to rectify that, so we may need a variance for some of those units. Actually, in this case, the units did work with habitable area, and we went through it with the building department. But they do not, we're like 7 square feet, 9 square feet, and 20 square feet, I believe, to be compliant with the new law.
That it, JD, or you?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
if you want to just put the elevation that,
Yeah, that would
yeah.
be helpful. I have a bunch of questions, and before I turn it over to board members for questions, Valerie and Tony, could you just walk us through your comments and concerns?
Yeah,
please?
so I had a number of comments. One, first of all, I just want to say that we feel that the Board of Architectural Review application is incomplete in terms of like what's needed for external improvements for this particular site. We feel that, just saying repair, I think at this point, there really needs to be an overhaul on the exterior of the building. These buildings have been vacant for about 20 years. And I think the overall intent of the village is to, improve the overall aesthetic. And I think right now it looks like there's a little bit of a Band-Aid approach and not necessarily something that's going to really improve the area. So I think that's something that would, in terms of BAR, you have to look at excessive dissimilarities, excessive similarities. But in terms of, I would say, excessive dissimilarity, potentially because of the situation that a lot of the other improvements have been taking place along Croton Avenue, and this is one that is not really proposing to do a lot of improvements. Also, in terms of the zoning, this will ultimately need a recommendation from this board to the ZBA for variances, but the zoning table does need to be updated based upon the new livable square footages, and also the parking calculation seemed a little bit off, and so that needs to be rectified on the plans as well. And then the handicap space, we just noted that the handicap space is next to stairs and there's really no handicap accessible pathway. So that's something else that needs to be looked at. And then we were also raising things in terms of that there's like in the internal, it talks about storage space, but is that going to be exclusive to like the retail? So how the internal, like the first floor going to work with the retail, and then trash, how's that going to be handled, and lighting. Also whether that's going to, how that's going to be handled on the exterior of the buildings.
Yeah, so the biggest thing we looked at was the parking lot in the rear. And I had a chance to take a ride out there and just take a look, and as JB is saying, I think you have to do a little bit more grading. The parking lot extends past the existing fence. And it's not kind of shown like that. I think you have that existing fence shown in there. So when you're actually out there, it seems like there's quite a bit of drop off at the end of that parking lot. So we thought maybe there might potentially need to be a little wall there. The other issue is with the handicap spaces. It needs to be an accessible surface when I was out there. It's very loose gravel out there. So whether you use pavers or some type of other material than the loose gravel. And we did mention the ADA accessible route, which if you're looking to do a handicap space somewhere else, I guess you'd have to show it up at the road. It is required to have a handicap space there. But right now, there's no way anybody's getting that space up to the unit. We did make a comment on lighting as well, how that parking lot's going to be lit in the back. And for the work you're doing, we're gonna have to see some erosion control on the plan just to protect the property that's in the rear, because it's a slope off in the northern part of the parking lot. And then we did also note the parking calculations were a little bit confused, and that needs to be cleaned up. And those are the big items there. The rest is just little stuff, but yeah.
Thank you. Board members, questions?
Not so much a question, but for the pictures of what it currently looks like, I think it'd be helpful to also include the back. Because that was missing in the plans, and so it's kind of hard to see. What I saw was just the front and then kind of like the sides, but it didn't show the back with the parking, not like like you were saying, what it looks like now.
Anybody else?
I think there's photos. Can we see the photos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
know if they show the back.
We do have a really. People make sure it's.
There might be an elevation, but I didn't see a picture of the current,
Oh,
because you had some pictures.
got it. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's hard to kind of get a gauge of what exactly is changing.
I have a couple of questions. First of all, I was a little confused in looking at the plans. Is any part of this, any of these two buildings currently inhabited?
No,
No, so, because the plans showed current and proposed, and it looked like there were all of these
Well,
individual
these-
units without.
these units have existed. It's
Okay.
just they haven't been abandoned, but
Was it like a SRO or a boarding house? Because there were no kitchens or baths on the plan, so I was just a little confused. by
well, we were
that.
showing the existing walls.
Okay,
When we
just the
found that,
existing
yeah.
walls. So how many units are you actually proposing?
4.
Between the, so 2 in each
Yes.
building?
Mhm.
Mm,
And I think we are interested in the clients here as well too. When we're talking about the exterior, I mean, this is what is that we're looking for to I mean, he was looking to redo all the stucco, maintain the brick, replace all the windows. What is that we're trying to, what else?
I think what
Well,
your plans had repair, right, not replace. And you have like, there's like the corner, I mean,
Well,
the
repair the
roof.
stucco, new stucco, I mean, the stucco colors will provide the same color. The color is provided, what we're saying repair is if any damage in the system stucco, you have to prepare for the new color.
Are the materials on the plans?
Yeah,
Just that, well, just the repair for the stucco, but not for like the trim, not for it doesn't specifically say like the window, doesn't specifically say.
I mean, I have to say, I'm happy to see something happening here. I remember when I first moved to Ossining and this was a deli and then it shut down and it's been vacant for, I don't know, 20-some years. So I think it's great to see something moving forward, but I do think as per Valerie and Tony's comments, we need to see some of these items addressed a little in greater detail, particularly the facade, the frontage on Croton Avenue is very important. As Angelica requested, also, you know, pictures of the rear of the property, more detail to the parking would be really helpful. And then I think we need to know exactly what we would need to refer to the ZBA in terms of variances and so forth.
Okay.
And I actually just wanted to clarify something. You mentioned a project in the future in the rear. What?
I think I'm not sure. I think even at one point we have showed it formally. There's been a larger project talking about 40 units. Between 30 and 40 units.
On the
that-
parking lot, the current part, where would, or just taking this building down and
Taking these two
rebuilding?
buildings down and there is
Oh, I
a
see.
property, there's a property in the rear that almost connects to the 11.
Okay, but that's not currently contemplated.
It will be done in the near future, but yeah, not in the next 2 years, 3 years.
So if I'm understanding correctly, what you're saying is right now, there's a new owner of these properties. They're going to put investment into the properties to turn them into habitable properties. They're going to renovate or restore the facade. And then in a couple of years, you're going to actually come before whatever government body
Yes.
you need to get permission to do a multifamily project.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Right, but I think this board needs to proceed as if none of that is ever gonna happen. Right, so that this could be the project for the next 50 years.
Okay, understood. Okay, any other questions? Should we open a public hearing?
May,
Can I-
sorry,
can I-
may I ask a
Oh,
question?
sure.
For the back elevation, there's like a door that seems like it's hanging in the air. I just wasn't sure. Yeah, I wasn't sure about that.
Can we
The
see?
back.
that?
And there's a field store.
Yeah.
And again, it's hard because I can't Google Maps to see the back of the actual structure as it is now, to see if maybe there's like a ramp up to that, but I couldn't really tell.
There is no, there's no ramp going up, it's
Okay.
steps, it's sidewalk with the steps.
Or if there's,
No,
like, a
you'll see
deck
on
or
the
something.
facade.
Yeah, porch or deck or, 'cause there's just that
Oh, yeah.
door in the
That-
middle of the air.
Yes, that is.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's something else that
Yeah.
you might wanna remove,
Yeah.
right? So these are the things that like, if you're really gonna have this as habitable space for new residents, you know, if you wanna,
And if you're really replacing the windows, you
right,
need to
Yeah.
see the detail on the windows.
Yeah, because I didn't know it's either back or horizontal.
right, and if you look at the roof, like, if you actually look at the photos of the roof and the edging, you know, it looks pretty rotted at this point, like, so, you know, so I think.
Like the rate board.
Yeah. If you-
And I'm sorry, and also one more question. Will both properties have ground floor retail / office space
Yes.
or just, okay. So that's, yeah. Need to see greater detail on that as well, particularly the facade of the smaller building. Okay, can I get a motion to open a public hearing, please?
Maria, make the motion to open the public hearing.
Okay, is there anybody here to speak to this item? Anybody in this room or on Zoom?
No virtual hands.
Okay, we would be adjourning the public
Mhm.
hearing, so can I get a motion to adjourn the public hearing, please?
Eric Salvador make the motion to adjourn the public hearing.
Carla Leo second the motion. No objections.
Oh, no objections, that's me, I'm supposed to say.
There's no objections, the motion passes.
Okay, if there's no objections, the motion passes, thank you.
You vote
Linda.
on the last.
I'm a little rusty. Okay, thank you. Okay, then moving to, I believe it's a continuing business of the board. Is that also, okay,
Supposed to spin.
yeah. Okay, bar 25-2024, 159 Main Street. Applicant is seeking bar approval for proposed front facade alterations on the first floor. And a wall mounted sign for the proposed.
Yes.
And this application received HPC approval.
So, should be in. Yeah, there was, this should be the latest from the board.
There's a 11:20. Yeah, 11:20. Do the 11:21. And go down. There's
It's in
revised,
the middle.
revised BAR.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Looking in order. Yes, there, in the
Fair
middle,
enough.
not in order. Thank you.
This is, we're only dealing with the part that says, cultures, which is, we also have a floor plan that you see is gonna be, should you have an idea, this is where the old Bob stores used to be. This is gonna be, a food establishment. It's gonna be called Cultures. And we are, what you see here is what has been approved. And it has certificate of appropriateness, and through the process with the board, as you recall, just when Maddie was showing the other picture, where she was showing, at the time, we only presented our half of the building. So as a request of the board, we have presented both buildings together. And a lot of emphasis was created on matching what already has been approved for Shine. So we are matching the colors, we're matching the materials, and we're not doing anything with the stucco on the top. It's just the entrance for Culture. The KD sign is already installed and already has been approved. And the lights have been turned off. And I think in the next, there we present all the finishes. And there's a picture and there's a size of the sign. And we have a couple drawings later, there's a floor plan, what it's gonna be. That is the current picture of the place.
So you're showing lighted signs in the other examples, it's not a lighted sign.
Right. Yes.
Can I just clarify, so were these drawings added recently? Because I feel like I didn't see that at the front page.
Yes, we just like a couple weeks ago, I believe, we
Oh,
just got
okay.
approved.
Well, in the packet, when I was online, I felt like I didn't see these.
I think you might have missed it the way that I did, because it's in the middle of the,
Oh,
the
okay.
like
Okay.
there,
Yeah, it's,
middle of the stack.
all right, good. All right, before I open to board member questions, Valerie, Tony, any comments? No. Okay. Board members, any questions, comments? I think this is pretty straightforward. Do we need to do a public hearing? Can I get a motion to open a public hearing on this?
Eric Salvador, sorry. I make a motion, open the public hearing.
Cardelia second the motion.
Okay, anybody in the room who'd like to speak to this item? Oh, sorry. Wait, wait. What aren't we opening a public hearing?
Yes, but you have to vote on the motion.
Sorry, let me write this down. No objections. Okay, I don't recall doing that, but okay.
Or you can vote.
All right, no objection, the motion passes. Is there anybody here to speak to this item? Nobody on Zoom?
Number 2 hands.
Okay, Can I get a motion to close, or we would close, not adjourn, close the public hearing?
Phil Murray, motion to close the public hearing.
Angelica can get a second.
Okay, hearing no objections, the motion passes. And what else? do
Are we ready to vote?
Are we ready to vote on this? I think so. Anybody last minute questions? No, okay.
All right, so for BAR 2024, 159 Main Street, I will take a roll call. Carla Elliott. Can I have a motion?
Eric Talbot, I make the motion.
Lindy, a second.
And then we do the roll call.
I have to say,
So Eric was the motion, Carla was the second, and now we'll do the roll call. Carla.
Aye.
Phil Murray.
Aye.
Eric Talbot,
Aye.
Angelica Kanganis,
Aye.
Holly Thurston,
Aye.
and Chair Aronson.
hi.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Don't forget to wait for your resolution before you start doing.
Right. Okay, so. That brings us to adjourned matters, and I was wondering, Valerie, if there's some things on the adjourned matters that we need to pay attention to in terms of timing, how long they've been on the agenda.
Right, so the 5 Sherman they were before the board in August, and then since then, we have not heard from them, so we'll probably reach out to them for. They're clearly not going to be on for December because all those have been submitted at this point, but we'll reach out to them in December to see if they're going to come back in January. 28 Park Avenue, they're in front of they were in front of the ZBA. They have now redesigned their plan to be zoning compliant, so we're just waiting for a resubmission from them to this board. 10 Marble Place is in front of the zoning board of appeals at this point. So once they make their decision, they'll come back before this board. 80 Main Street submitted revised more structural plans dealing with the wall, and Tony, you reviewed it, and if you have any comments or.
No, I mean, so there was a number of structural, sorry. There's a number of comments from our structural consultant that needs to be addressed. They just got that memo. Our comments were kind of related to a lot of the stuff that relates to the consultant's memos.
So that one is still technically moving, just not in front of this board yet, so soon. And then 171 Croton Avenue, I believe. Stuart, I spoke to Stuart the other day. He was gonna look into see what the status is of that situation, but until they come back with plans for the culvert, I think we're just gonna be holding this, and then we'll find out if at some point in time, if we need to remove this from the agenda. And then Snowden Avenue, they are still working on responses to our comments, and once we have responses, and I say to our comments, both Tony's comments and my comments, and then we should have, once they have submit responses, we should be able to sit down with this board and kind of go through more detail on the project. And that's it.
Great, thank you. I believe that brings us to the point of, we need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
You wanna do a.
Oh, yeah, yes, because we have Holly Thurston, who has joined us as a new member, so maybe everybody just wants to take 2 minutes to introduce themselves to Holly and say how long you've been on the board and maybe what your background is. I'll start. I think I've been on the board since 2019. And I really enjoy being on the board, and I have a background in urban planning and affordable housing.
Hi, Holly. My name is Eric Talbot, and I've been on the board since 2020. I started as an alternate member. I've lived in Austin for about 18 years now, and I have 2 kids. And I worked in affordable housing. Working housing, it's affordable for some people. It's 80%.
all relative.
It's 80%, but and I enjoy working with the board, and I'm also a volunteer.
I am Angelica. I've been on the board since February. And I've been in Austin for 2 years. I have a background in property management. And kids, we have the. Not very representative.
My name is Phil Maria. Lived also for about 10 years. On the board for about a year. I was an alternate to start with. And it's ancient history, but I have a degree in architecture from way back. Nice to meet you.
So I'm Carla. I've been with the board for, I don't know, 3 years. I do not have a background in anything related to it, but I kind of enjoy, I get to meet people and hear interesting things and see what's happening in Austin, some curiosity. So I really enjoy. It's a way of giving and doing something. Not that I have free time, but we do it, so it's good.
Introduce myself, Holly Thurston Westfall. I've been in Austin for 23 years. I'm from Boston, or outside Boston, Massachusetts. Oh, okay. Well, it's not too bad. No, but so I've been in Austin for 23 years with my husband, and I have a 13-year-old at A&B. Oh, nice. And we live on Pine Avenue, so there's a lot of familiarity with some of these projects. And I work for Deloitte and doing their real estate procurement. So I do a lot of proposal reviews and matching up to the requirements. That's like right fit. So I'm looking forward to this. This is like very interesting to me, and I can't wait to see how this works and learn from everybody and then the actual function. Right now, so I'm happy to have you on board. Thank you.
Good. So now, should I get a motion to adjourn? Do we need to formally do that? Okay. Can I get a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting, please?
I'll make the motion. Eric Sullivan.
I'll second.
Okay, hearing no objections, the motion passes. Oh, okay, yes. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Happy holiday.
Officially took less time than it took.
Oh, wow.
Bye.